Hey there everyone, I'm Marc Alcubé, the host of Expat Expert podcast, and this video is extracted out of a longer interview that I had with Emma Barbalukas, an American pole dancer and journalist who has Greek roots and came back to Greece to reconnect with them.
I will say New York is very good at that. There's a lot of infrastructure for people with wheelchairs to get onto New York City public buses and the metro or subway. I've never seen someone in Athens in a wheelchair get on a public bus or the subway, metro. Now I'm flipping it.
You don't need to switch your English for metro, subway.
The Greeks and the New Yorkers get pissed about that. In New York, if you say metro, people look at you like, the what? Like, excuse you. And here also, they get really specific about the differences between the metro, the treno, the electrico, and the trolley and the tram. And if you get them mixed up, like, Lord help you.
I mean, come on. You live in a country that literally has one line of train. So if you're complaining about trains, and sorry for the dark joke, but you have one line and you put two trains in the opposite direction. So I think you should be complaining about the train system, not about people calling it wrong.
Wow.
But sure.
Trust me.
improve the train, the bus systems before and the buses itself, and then we can talk about it. Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
It's a good life, a lot to improve, though, of course.
They're just climbing out of the economic crisis, right? Like, they just got back to like the GDP level. They're supposed to get back to it this year that they were pre-crisis. So, billions of dollars paid back to the IMF, still billions need to pay back to the various Eurozone creditors. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's lots of tax evasion, lots of money going missing from the top. So it's just like, it's kind of a wonder to me that anything happens at all. But I totally understand, like, coming from the standard of like particularly organized European cities, I can completely understand why people come to Athens and are like, are we still in Europe? Are you sure?
And people are expecting Santorini out of Athens, and they're right here. That's the other typical case of people like, oh, where are the white houses with blur of stuff? Definitely not in Athens. Like,
I don't know if you've seen the social media videos that are like, when you live in Greece and not Greece. Like, I love those.
Yes.
I've seen them so many times and I watch them every time.
You said also about timings, because I saw a couple of videos of yours making jokes about American timings. How are you dealing with that? Because if Mediterraneans, we do something, it's doing things late, very late, everything.
Yeah. So there are two aspects to that. One is the spontaneity of it. In New York, it's really difficult to have like spontaneous plans. Like, I was really struggling there with like, everything is people's lives are so scheduled. Everything is so scheduled out. If you want to hang out with someone, if you really need to ask them in advance. And then if you hang out, the time that they give you is like, I need to run in 55 minutes. And you're like, okay, I'm sorry. You have exactly 55 minutes to have a drink right now?
No, for 54 now.
Exactly. And like, at the time, that all seemed normal because it was like, when you only swim in one particular water, like, that was like, okay, that's just how social life happens. And then when I moved here, it was like simultaneously a source of stress and a great relief. Like, when you would go and hang out with people and you're still hanging out like 5 hours later, part of that to me is like, okay, I had not planned for this to take the entire day, but okay, here we are. On the other hand, it's really lovely that people are like so generous with their time and are just like, yeah, well, you wanted to hang out, so we're hanging out.
On the other hand, it's just like, I'm alone here. I need to the city. Nothing else to do. Like, bring me another beer.
Exactly. Have another coffee. Like, whatever.
Coffee for 5 hours. It's only one coffee in this country.
It's true. That is true. So there was that. And then like what you're saying before, where it's just like the entire clock is shifted backwards. And I've never been able to adjust to that. Like, my first couple of years here, I was partying a lot because I was new, I was single. You party. But even then, I just couldn't. It's just not my natural clock to like go out at 11, or like the Greeks properly do go out at 2 a.m.
11 is early.
Yeah, exactly. 11 is late for me. Okay, 11 is late. 2 a.m. is crazy. Anything past 2 a.m. is like, this is my whole weekend.
Yeah, I know. I have a good friend who says even though we enter to the club very late, nothing good happens after 3 a.m. And that's because in reality, you are drinking since 10. The only thing is that you are doing it at a friend's house or someone else or a dinner or whatever, and then you go out at 12 or 1 or 2. Yes, it's true that you're entering the club at 1 or 2. But when you're entering the club, because the prices inside of the club are also higher, you're already fucking roasted when you arrive there. So normally you have to drink enough, and then with 1-2 hours of being in the club, and that's also very linked to we are probably, or Greeks and Spanish people now will kill me because they know how to dance or whatever, but generically Greeks are not the best dancers in the world.
Oh, the Greeks are so bad. They just don't dance, and I don't understand why.
I really love this concept of going to a club and everyone is listening, right?
Yes, they just stand there
listening to the music, and it's just like,
yes,
with a speaker at home you can't do this without paying 20 euros to enter here, like.
The other issue here is that I find it very difficult to find clubs that don't pretty much just play Greek music. So it's like...
There is some.
There are. It's not that they don't exist, but... I've had a hard time.
And then it's too touristy or too whatever.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find a nice spot in the city to go out. It's true. I mean, it really depends on which kind of music you are in.
Yeah,
I think the easiest is loving techno and electric music, which I'm not in the mood at all, but there is no lyrics, so there is no Greek music.
That is definitely one of the solutions. If you really like electronic music, which I don't really. The other solution is to get with a Greek program, which I tried. I learned a bunch of the Greek songs. I got with it. That definitely helped, but it still does not. It's just not my vibe.
What, you went in Bouzoukias every weekend?
I went to Bouzoukia twice, and I will never go ever again. Maybe I would go to one of the really traditional ones, the more like a dinner situation. But to the big
it's
pop.
very expensive.
Oh, it's also just it's just not for me. It's not for me. I went once as a cultural experience, twice because I was too dumb to learn from the first time, and that's
enough.
It.
I can get it. So before we jump to the second part, if it's okay for you, I always do a little bit of this or that questions. If you have to choose, what would you stick with? New York or Greek food?
New York, because it's everything. Every country you have ever thought of or not thought of, they have that in New York. So New York. And they have Greek food. Not very amazing Greek food, but they have it.
The weather here or there?
Here.
Here? Yeah. Okay. So no snowy winters in New York.
It doesn't really snow there anymore in the winter. If it was some beautiful white Christmas moment, maybe. But I'm a sun creature. I'm a beach creature. So the heat here is oppressive and it's rough. But I prefer the weather here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lifestyle in America or here?
Here.
Yeah. More chill style.
Lifestyle, I prefer the culture in New York, but I prefer the lifestyle here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions, culturally wise also.
Culture, New York, all the way. I am a born and bred American. I have a very American mindset. A lot of people have asked me since I moved here, so do you feel you're a Greek here? And I'm like, no, I feel really absurdly American here. Very aware of my own Americanness. But we didn't touch on this, but I can't, New York is a very, very open-minded liberal place. So to come into a rather conservative culture here was
definitely
shocking for me. And sorry to say, I prefer the New York.
I feel you. Missed a little bit the freedom mindset of Barcelona in that sense.
Yeah, is it more open-minded than Athens?
3,000 times more open than here. I mean, here, believe it or not, they have a big influence still of patriarchy, the church being involved in there.
Yeah.
Politics are still very old-fashioned, and you can feel it a lot. I've never felt that Athens or whatever, it's an unsafe place to live. even being a woman, I don't feel it like too much of a hustle or whatever. At least when I talk with my girlfriend about it, she feels safe here in a lot of senses, which Barcelona sometimes is not the case. But I think the cultural circles and the political mindset of Barcelona, it's much more open-minded and much more I don't know. I want to call it liberal because it's not really liberal, but it's more we advance a little bit more in terms of LGBTQ community, in terms of feminism, in terms of you notice that a lot, especially with the conversations with people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Same. I would say as far as the street harassment and safety goes, that I feel safer here than in New York, which I feel is backed up by stats, just flat stats. But I get harassed with much greater frequency here than in New York. I feel there's a greater level of cultural awareness in New York about that, where here it's just people ogle at you and make hissing noises, and it's very...
The cat talk, it's higher here.
Yeah.
But you don't feel as much the pressure of insecurity level as in New York.
If you liked this short video out of the full episode, you can find the link to it around here and in the description below. Of course, if you are also interested in checking out other episodes, please subscribe and like.